I'm not big on ghost stuff. I never was. I used to roll my eyes at Ouija boards and all that. Figured it was just something people did for attention or to creep each other out. But there's one night I can't explain, and I swear on everything I know, it happened. This was a few years ago, 2019, I think. I was out in Waldorf at my boy Kevin's house. His parents had gone to Ocean City for the weekend and left him in charge, so of course that meant a party. Nothing crazy, just a bunch of us from school. People hanging in the basement, music playing, couple drinks if you had the hookup, that kind of vibe. The night was chill. I remember we were just kicking it, playing 2K. Some folks were out back smoking, and someone brought cupcakes that were half melted from the ride over. Then, somewhere around 11:30 or so, Marcus showed up. Marcus was always the dude with weird stories like, "I saw a shadow person at the end of my bed," type stories. But he was funny, cool to hang with. He pulls up and says, "Yo, I found this Ouija board in my cousin's garage. You trying to summon a demon or what?" We all laughed, but Kevin was like, "Bet. Let's do it." Tables in the kitchen. So a bunch of us go in, me, Kevin, Sarah, Aisha, Marcus, and I think one other dude named Brian. We kill the lights, someone lights a few candles like we're doing a seance or something, and Marcus pulls out the board. It looked old, like real old. Not a Hasbro one. This one looked handmade, like somebody burned the letters into the wood. Anyway, we sit around and start playing. First few minutes, nothing happens. Marcus is like, "You gotta ask it a real question." So Sarah goes, "Is anyone here with us?" And the planchette moves. No joke. Like slow and steady, slides to yes. At first I thought it was Kevin or someone messing around. But then it started answering stuff. We asked how it died and it spelled F-I-R-E. Then Marcus in this dead serious tone says, "Who are we talking to?" And it spells Y-O-U. Now I know how that sounds. Like someone was pushing it for fun, but all of us were just staring at each other. And Marcus, he looked spaced out, like his eyes weren't focusing right. His hands dropped from the board and he just got up and walked out the kitchen, didn't say a word. We all kind of shrugged it off. Somebody said it was probably a prank, maybe he was high. Kevin took the board and chucked it into the backyard like, "Nope, not bringing any demons into my house." We kept partying. Next morning, Marcus was gone. I figured he just bounced, so I texted him. No response. I called, straight to voicemail, tried Instagram. His profile was gone. I asked Kevin if he'd heard from him, and Kevin goes, "Who?" I said, "Marcus." Kevin laughed like I was messing with him. "Bro, you mean that Marcus from freshman year gym class? The one who moved to Atlanta?" I was like, "No, our Marcus. He was here last night. Brought the Ouija board?" Kevin looks at me like I'm losing it. He swore up and down there was no Marcus at the party. I asked Sarah. She had no idea what I was talking about. Even Aisha just shrugged and said, "I don't know any Marcus." I started panicking. I checked my phone. The pictures we took that night, group shots, selfies, all that. Marcus wasn't in any of them, not one. I looked through old photos from school trips and bonfires. Pictures I know he was in. And they were different now. He just wasn't there. It was like he got erased. Except for me. I still remember him, his dumb jokes, his busted old backpack with patches all over it, the way he always tied his hoodie sleeves in a knot, but no one else does. I tried to track down his cousin, the one who supposedly had the Ouija board, but couldn't find her online either. No profile, nothing. I don't mess with that stuff anymore, not even as a joke. Sometimes, late at night, I think I see someone outside standing at the edge of the woods behind my apartment, just staring. I always wonder if I went out there and called his name, would he remember me? So this happened a couple Halloweens ago. I was 21, and me and some friends had this tradition where we'd try to one-up each Halloween. Like one year it was a haunted corn maze, the next year we broke into this abandoned house in Mechanicsville just to film a fake ghost hunting video. Dumb stuff, you know? But this year, Jake had this idea to throw a secret party at St. Elmo's Cemetery. Now, before you say anything, I know. It's disrespectful, it's dumb, it's everything your grandma would warn you not to do. But when you're buzzed and dressed as a vampire with flashing LED teeth, it doesn't hit the same. We parked a few streets away so no one would call the cops on a line of cars, and hiked through the woods to get to the back of the cemetery. Jake and another guy, Darnell, had been there during the day and stashed some beer and Halloween lights near this old oak tree. It was actually kinda dope. Foggy, moonlight cutting through the trees, fake cobwebs on headstones, music playing off a Bluetooth speaker. People started showing up around 10:30. Mostly folks from around Waldorf and La Plata. We danced, drank, even had a costume contest. Someone showed up in a blow-up dinosaur suit that kept deflating. It was hilarious. But around midnight, things started feeling weird. It was like the temperature dropped all at once. 1 second we were sweating in our costumes, the next I could see my breath. The music glitched, like literally the speaker just started stuttering and then shut off. Everyone thought it was the battery, but it had just been charged. Then this girl Maya, who came dressed as a witch, swore she saw someone walking between the headstones just outside the light. She thought it was Darnell trying to scare people, but he was right next to me. So we all looked. Nothing. But then the light started flickering. The battery-powered string lights we put up, flickering like someone was flicking a switch. Only, they didn't have switches. I checked, they just turned on and off when you clicked the battery box. Someone laughed and said, "Yo, the spirits are mad we're playing beer pong on their graveyard." And everyone chuckled. But Maya didn't laugh. She was staring past the lights, toward this old family crypt near the far edge of the cemetery. She said she saw someone standing at the entrance, tall, pale, wearing some old-timey clothes, just standing there. I looked, but again, I didn't see anything. I told her she was just drunk. Then the speaker turned back on, blasting static. Full volume. No one was touching it. The sound was awful. Everyone covered their ears. Then, in the middle of the static, I swear on my life, I heard something whisper, "Get out." We didn't argue. The party ended right then. People grabbed what they could and booked it out through the woods. The next morning, Jake went back to grab some of the stuff we left behind. He came back pale as hell. Said someone, or something, had dragged all the beer cans and decorations into a perfect circle around that old crypt, like neatly arranged. Also, he found footprints, bare feet, in the frost. There's no logical way someone was out there barefoot in that weather. Maya texted us all that afternoon and said she had a dream, no, a nightmare, about a man with no eyes whispering her name. She said it felt more like a memory than a dream. I've never gone back. I don't even drive near that place anymore. I didn't grow up superstitious, but now, I leave cemeteries alone. And if you're reading this and thinking about throwing a Halloween party somewhere spooky for the vibe, just stick to someone's backyard. Trust me. Alright, so this one's different. It's not ghosts, it's not demons. At least, I don't think it is. But it messed me up in a way I still don't have words for. It was last summer, out in Brandywine. My cousin Nate invited me to this house party his coworker was throwing. The guy, can't remember his name, Tony or Tay or something. He just bought this fixer-upper and was planning to gut it and turn it into an Airbnb or something. Now, I'm not usually big on random house parties, especially from people I don't know. But it was a Friday, I had nothing going on, and Nate said there was going to be good music, free food, and space to crash if you got too lit. We pull up around 10 p.m. The house is way off the road, like gravel driveway and no streetlights type of deal. The outside looked off. It was definitely old, but not run down exactly. Just weird. The windows were all slightly different shapes, like someone bought them from a thrift shop and just shoved them in wherever they fit. But whatever. It's dark. We head inside and there's people already dancing, laughing, red Solo cups everywhere. The usual. Inside though, that's where things started to feel wrong. The layout made no sense. Like you'd walk into what you thought was a living room, but there'd be a sink in the corner and 3 doors leading to nowhere. One of them just opened into a brick wall. No insulation, just bricks. The lights were super dim too, just these yellow floor lamps that buzzed like bug zappers. I figured maybe the guy didn't finish wiring the place yet. Nate didn't seem to care, so I tried to shake it off. I grabbed a drink, started talking to this girl about old cartoons or something, and for a while it was just a regular house party. But then I noticed something. There were no mirrors in the whole house. None. Not in the bathroom, not by the doors, and the weird part is, there were frames where mirrors should have been, like someone had taken them out. I even asked Nate, and he kinda laughed and said, "Maybe the house is shy." Around midnight, I went looking for the kitchen, and I swear, I walked down the same hallway 3 times. But it kept changing. First time it had a closet at the end, second time it ended in stairs going down, third time, it was just a wall. And no one else noticed. I told this dude I bumped into, "Yo, has this house always looked like this?" And he just stared at me and said, "What house?" I thought he was messing with me, but his face, he looked dead serious. Right after that, the lights flickered. Everything went dark for like 2 seconds. When they came back on, the music was gone. The people were still dancing, but there was no music playing. And then, the walls? They looked different, like older. Cracked, like they were rotting. And something was dripping down the corners, this black tar-looking stuff. I reached out to touch it and felt cold run up my arm. I grabbed Nate and said we had to leave. He didn't argue. We both pushed through the crowd and ran out the front door. Here's the craziest part. When we stepped outside, there was no driveway, no gravel, no cars, just woods, dense woods. Like we'd stepped out of the house and into a different place entirely. We both turned around and the house behind us, it wasn't the same house. It was small, cabin-sized, covered in moss. The windows were shattered and boarded up. The roof was sagging like it had been abandoned for decades. I wanted to scream, but Nate just grabbed my wrist and said, "Don't look back." He pulled me into the woods and we just ran. No clue where we were going, just away. Somehow, about 20 minutes later, we stumbled out near Route 5, right behind that closed gas station near the Wawa. We flagged someone down and got a ride back to my place. We drove back the next morning. Every single house down that road looked normal. Renovated, modern. But that weird one, the one we partied in, gone. Not just gone, like it had never been there. Nate doesn't talk about it, at all. And when I tried to bring it up at a cookout a few weeks later, he just said, "That wasn't a party, that was something else." I've stopped going to parties where I don't know the host, and if the walls feel like they're breathing, I'm out.
Like and subscribe for more eerie tales